Hey guys, Jake here from the Tattoo Improvement Network, and welcome to another episode of Fireside Technique. Today we're going to do a little, we're going to give a tip for life drawing, but it translates to tattooing. And if you've watched our show for long, then you know that we talk a lot about values, about areas of dark and areas of light, and keeping those things separated so that you can give the illusion of depth in your tattoos or in your drawings, paintings. And what we see a lot in younger tattooers is that they will have areas of dark in their light forms that compete with areas of dark in their dark forms, which tends to flatten the shapes out. And the best way to learn how to deal with this is to actually draw or paint from life, to set up a still life or to paint, set up a model, paint a portrait, paint a landscape, and start to learn to differentiate shadow areas from light areas. But it's still a little bit of a challenge, so I want to give you a tip to, or a little trick to help you out with it. So I'm going to set up a model and show you right now how to differentiate between light areas of dark and dark areas of light, and what you should do to render those things differently so that they make sense. Check it out. Alright everybody, here we are in front of the most beautiful model that I've ever laid eyes on in my life. Alright, so like I said, life drawing is the best way to differentiate, or to learn to differentiate the light and shadow shapes. So here we have a single light source, a really controlled environment, and it's pretty easy to see where the light is hitting and where the shadow side is hitting. Sometimes you can't control the light quite as much, and you have a secondary light source, maybe something like this, right? And so you can see that there's a stronger light on this side, and if I move the light closer to her, it's even more pronounced. But you still have secondary areas of light. So the easiest way to deal with that and to separate light, to read the difference between light and shadow, is to take something like a brush or a pencil. And if I place that up here, you can see that it casts a shadow on the light side of her face. And that's really obvious. We know that light's coming from this way. And it looks pretty obvious that we have shadows. I'm not going to hit you. It looks pretty obvious that we have shadows on this side of the face. So as we come across here, we see that we're casting a shadow that makes it obvious that light is striking that side of the face. As we pass across the bridge of the nose, we lose the shadow in this deepest recess of her nose right here, because that is truly a shadow area. You'll notice as I cut across the shadow side of her face, though, that a shadow from the brush picks back up, meaning that that is a darker area of light. So you can see on her left cheek right now that there's actually a shadow being cast by my brush, even though it looks like that's in a shadow area. It looks like there's obviously a cast shadow from her nose on this cheek. So this cheek is this cheek is darker than this cheek. But if I cut across here with my brush, I can see that I'm casting a shadow on that shadow side of her cheek, which means that area is still in light. So I may have made that too complex, but basically, if you can see a shadow cast by your object, by your brush or by your pencil, you're dealing with an area of light, even if it's on the shadow side of the face or of whatever object that you're drawing. And if you see that cast shadow, it means you're dealing with an area of light. It may be a dark area of light, but it should be treated in a way that you would render it lighter than any of the shadow areas. So any place that you don't see a cast shadow should be darker than any place that you do see a cast shadow. So walk up to your model, and you can do this on a still life, you can do it on a figure, you can do it on anything, but obviously you have to do it from life. And it's a great way to learn to differentiate light from shadow, and you'll find that you'll be in the middle of painting, and you'll be painting this area close to as dark as this area, and they'll be kind of competing, they'll be flattening out, and then you can walk up and make that, do this quick test and say, oh, that actually should be painted lighter. Even though it reads as dark to my eye, I can tell that that light is hitting that surface because of the cast shadow, and so I should be rendering it lighter than any of the true shadow areas. That's it, guys. I hope that helps.